This podcast is powered by Malice. Use discount code HARDNEWS10 for a 10% discount on your festival outfit. Welcome back to a brand new episode of PLAFONDDIENST, the Hardstyle Podcast. Yet another English one, and this time we have a special guest for you in store. My name is Wouter from Hard News, and as always, I'm joined by the one and only Marijn, better known as a Flux Overload.
Hey.
Marijn, you're pretty, how would I say this? You're a pretty raw enthusiast.
Yeah, you can say that like this.
I bet you have seen the guy set a lot of times.
I basically grew up with his music, like learning the whole raw stuff. So yeah,
I feel old as fuck. Can I swear?
I'm sorry.
In this podcast? Can I swear in this podcast?
yeah. You can swear as much as you want.
Okay, we just censor. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we might have spoiled it, but this time's guest, he's one of the early aggressive acts in the modern raw, and starting as a duo at Gearbox before going solo and co-founding Aggressive Records. This is your time to say AR Gang.
Hey, gang! Let's go!
After a period of silence, he's back and recharged and ready to show what his next chapter will sound like. So please give it up for Malice.
Hey.
M-A-L-I-C!
Let's go.
Great to have you here, man. How's it going?
Yes, it's very nice to be here. I love doing this kind of stuff. I appreciate you guys calling me. Yeah, we worked already together. I vibe with you. You're a very cool guy. Met you today. Appreciate it already. What you said about my shit. And I'm very, very happy to be here. I like to do this. So
yeah, we'll keep these vibes going. So yeah, thanks for joining us.
Completely my environment. I love doing this kind of stuff.
Great.
Cool
it's
stuff,
great to hear.
Well, I'm glad you talk about like this because we served you an espresso and I'm not sure if it's up to Italian standards.
Bro, I forgot my Italian standard. 9 years here, you know? Like, I
You're
remember,
used to the normal coffee now.
Yeah, I remember when, for example, my father come here and I let him try the fricandel and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you, man? You're not my son anymore. Like if I start the lunch before and I take a cappuccino before, even eating a pasta, he look at me like, who the fuck are you? You're not my son. You're not my son. Go out of here. Get out of your own house.
And it was like 4 in the afternoon, or
Yeah, no. It was 12.
Oh shit!
Time. Yeah. I said, Dad, do you want a cappuccino? And he's like, cappuccino before pasta. Jij bent gek? Idiot? What's wrong with you? Yeah.
Well, before we go into more Italian and Italian aesthetics, let's rewind for a second because take us back to the early days, the beginning of Malice.
Yeah, of
How did the
course.
project get started?
Like every project about art in general, I guess, with a lot of passion and a lot of love for the particular art you want to try to dive into. And I want to just spend one word of appreciation and respect for the God himself, Delete. Ryan Biggs, because I have tattoos for him, and without him, but I want to be cocky and say even Sick Mod, Rule, we wouldn't be here, you know, because I still remember us with the first days of trying to make music in my car, the car of my parents, when I was 18, you know, and we just go around doing the city and we just put the music of Delete loud as fuck in the car, you know. And because before him, we were into like Alpha 2 records, you know, guys like Digital Punk, E-Force, normal raw. And then the first time I heard his music, I was like, I'm committing a crime here. Like this music is not normal. Like I remember listening to the tracks of him from Spoontech. I see a spoon with a Spoontech logo there.
A literal spoon, yeah.
Yes. Like you are not alone. A syndrome, you know, like you are not alone. You know that track. If you know the raw, you should know that track.
I of course know that one.
Yeah. And I remember I was listening to it. I'm like, this music is not okay, but I have to listen. And then I was like, this is insane. And he changed us. He changed our life. So it started with a passion, but also Delete really made us want to try to do a career. Because Alejandro, Sick Mod, was making music on his own already when he was 13. He started at 13. I started way later. And but Delete really inspired us to say, okay, let's try to make music and release it.
Because what did he do to make an example for you of what was it in his music that ignited the spark for you?
It was hard as fuck, man. Dark. You could see. Yeah, I mean, some people will say what I'm about to say is weird, but you could see raw emotions with a lot of these tracks. Like, for example, let's say Shut the Mind Up. I'm sure he did that track, because he had his own mind to shut up, So I can relate with that, And I think other tracks in the discography before Shut the Mind Up were like this. I want to maybe be cocky and say that he was maybe a tortured soul, That's why also he passed, and that's why he made that type of music. I still remember the interview he did for Capitol saying, I don't do music for everybody. My music is dark, is heavy. If you like it, good. If you don't like it, you can listen to something else. And I'm not gonna change this, And it was just hard. Like, for me, rawstyle was always a genre of music to vent something inside, Like the tracks I did, Demon Inside Me, Strong. Also, I always wanted to make music to try to vent some negative emotions inside, to let them out and transform in positivity, Like, let's rock this shit, And Delete music, like no other music gave me that feeling. I don't know about somebody else, but for me it was literally this. I have tattoos, for the music, here on the neck, here on the wrist. For
that's true dedication.
Yeah, but
But it was like so unique back then.
Yes.
It was something else that really ignited the spark for many artists, and still nowadays is an inspiration to like a lot of artists. For example, we have had Just in the podcast over here. He also talked about his inspiration that comes from Delete. So
you can. Sorry, bro.
No problem. The influence is
ADHD. I interrupt a lot. So you have to know
no
this. I
no
talk
problem.
a lot. I interrupt a lot. So I'll try my best. Go.
No, but the influence of Delete is so big, and still is so big nowadays. So much respect for him for what he has been doing, like throughout the years. It's really unfortunate that he passed, but
I think he changed completely the game.
Yeah.
And I would be like so curious. Maybe curious is not a good word, but I can't find another now. But I would be so excited to hear what he would have done today in 2026.
Exactly.
Like what he would have come up with to even change even more everything, the game.
Yeah.
Like his music is so unique. Even nowadays, I listen to it sometimes and I'm like, nobody does this really. Nobody really can, because it was so unique.
Yeah. And some tracks are still like fitting the nowadays role. Like
for sure.
Tracks from, for example, Relentless, for example, is still a track that can be played throughout.
Lunatic.
Lunatic as well.
Lunatic,
Back in the days, and which one was it? Don't Hold Back, for example.
Yes,
that's really one that will be.
Yes.
I hear a lot of DJs playing that. So
yeah, of course, because I mean, maybe also with the whole art techno movement, we are going also to the direction of gated kicks, because nowadays rawstyle is changing, in my opinion, a lot compared to before. Like in the glory days of Delete and stuff, in like a raw dark, now it's transforming. I don't know if colleagues agree with me, but for me, it's almost transforming, like is approaching more EDM festival vibes rather than dark vibes like before, tracks like ecstasy, pain, pleasure. I don't remember now exactly, but you remember Delete and E-Force.
Pleasure and pain.
Yeah, pleasure and pain, stuff like this. Like Fatal, Detox, and Delete. Tracks like this before were kind of the standard, and now the standard is another one. It's more like I don't want to insult it, but more like fast food music. I would call it.
Exactly. Yeah.
But because
high intensity and
Yes.
much energy, but without like
Everything immediately
Yeah.
together,
Yeah.
way more shock factor. And also me and the boys of Gearbox were like the kinda, I wouldn't say the first, but we used a lot of shock factor
Yeah.
stuff in our
Yeah,
music,
indeed.
you know?
Yeah.
Like
Look at you guys back in the days at Vitality
Yeah.
Outdoor, for example.
Yeah, like the loudness tool edit,
Yeah,
you know,
of course,
2015. We used 8 kicks in the span of 10 seconds.
Yeah.
It was something that people didn't do before, you
No,
know?
exactly.
We talked with other producers and they were like, why the fuck would you do this? Can you mix the song?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, how can you mix this song with so many different kicks? And we were like, what is mixed now? You know, like we didn't care. You know,
Yeah.
the tracks now sound bad, but it was unique.
Yeah.
Still, the idea, and that's why I think also the most success is in a hard dance song, or even in a EDM song, or in an electronic dance song. I think the number one is the idea. Like if the idea is cool, how it sounds can go on the side, you know?
Yeah.
Of course, if you combine both, it's a masterpiece. Like amazing, cool, unique idea and amazing mix down, you know? But first, the idea. I think would be always more successful shitty sounding song, but amazing ideas,
Yeah.
rather than a masterpiece, how it sounds, but boring, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, maybe I sound cocky, but I think that's the case,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And especially with Delete, he had some really out-of-the-box ideas. But production-wise, it was always top-notch.
Exactly.
Always.
He didn't have that problem like us. Even the first tracks I heard were sounding good, you know? I don't know what he did in his life, if he was a sound engineer, but yeah, mixed down wise and sound design, everything from the lead sounded amazing. Yeah.
You just said that you and Ale and also Ruler really
yeah.
looked up to Delete.
Yeah,
I-
And eventually, the three of you started Aggressive Acts.
Yes.
Take us back to that time, because how was that time for you?
I would say probably one of the best periods of my life in general, you know, just doing what you love with friends, you know, because to be honest, when I went alone, I want to be honest, like it's fine. A lot of the fun of making music went away for me. I mean, I love to make music. I love to be able to create something from zero. Is a feeling that very few things can give you in life, like how to be able to create art from zero. No, is amazing.
Yeah.
Even a guy that create a movie, a guy that write a script, a guy that write a book. It's amazing to come up with your own feelings and emotion and put them, you know, somewhere from zero. It's insane. So I still love to make music. But I also loved a lot to make music with friends or with somebody that I vibe with, you know. For example, I will be completely honest. I don't give a fuck. We can decide after. But when me and Alejandro decided to split, I didn't have... I had a lot of ideas, but I didn't have the technical skills that Alejandro had. Alejandro made music since he was 13. I started when I was 21. So I had to take... lessons to be able to go on the standard of Malice immediately on my own, boom, like this. And I made music with an amazing person. He's called Casper, and probably some people know who I'm talking about. He taught me a lot, and also making music with him and learning with him was like the same feeling that I had making music with Christopher and Alejandro in the studio, because we vibed so good. Like for me, it's a million times more fun to make music with somebody. But of course, when you are the only guy in the act, it doesn't have to be always like this. But, you know, making music with somebody was the best feeling of my life, those periods, you know. Making stuff with friends, you know, like the connection, you know. Look at each other's eyes when you filled up the stage, you know. And look at Alejandro, look at Christopher and think like...
Yeah,
let's fucking go, you know.
saw that
let's-
vibe at
let's
Aggressive
go.
Act as well, so...
Yeah, like look in our eyes and be like, look, fucking cool, you know. we did this from Genova, you know. We didn't have money, normal life, you know, like Genova. Italy is not a rich country, you know. It never was. I don't think it will never be, but this is another topic. Coming from that, you know, and then being able to perform in front people, you know, it doesn't matter if it's 100, if it's 10,000 perform your music in front of an audience,
Yeah.
and have people go crazy with you. And then after, like, I talk a lot.
No worries.
For example, I have this vivid memory. So vivid, like we were not living in the Netherlands still, and we had to play Loudness. I don't remember exactly the year, maybe 2015. And Aleander was not with us, but it was me and Christopher. We took the train to go to Loudness because after we had to perform. We took the train. Already in the train, there was some people recognizing us and wanted to take pictures. And then me and Christopher go to the Loudness, and then we couldn't take a step because everybody would want to take pictures. And after a while, this becomes normal. And some artists even, I know, I'm not going to say names because it's not fair, but I know some artists that despise that. Like they want to stay in the backstage. They don't want to deal with fans asking pictures. But personally, I love that shit because I'm here for you, And especially when I see people with a tattoo, I'm like, I feel so grateful that somebody decided to brand his skin forever with something I created from zero. Like, I think a lot of artists should remember, and be grateful that there are motherfuckers on the planet that listen to what you do and they see you. Maybe I'm speaking a lot out of my mind, but they see you almost like an idol, Like, oh my God, I look up so much to you. When I'm a normal motherfucker, that for 1 year didn't do nothing, didn't do music because I was in a dark period of my life. I was living alone in a house, 3 floor. I had the pets and I didn't have them anymore for a reason or another. I was living alone, isolated in Alphencam,
Yeah.
And I'm a normal motherfucker like you, and you see me as an idol just because I created something from zero. You should be grateful, I think every artist should remember, like, when I don't want to take a picture with a fan, why not, why? Even if it's like 10,000 at the same moment. Be patient and do it.
It's like a small moment for you as an artist, but a big moment for fans, of course.
Of course. Yeah. Like, of course, if every day you can't get out of your house because there is 10,000 people, is another story. But if once a weekend or once every 2 weekends, you go in the crowd and there is a lot of people asking you pictures, so what, bro? Yeah. It's also part of your job, in my opinion. But also, you make them so happy. Like I remember, for example, maybe the guy will watch the podcast and will remember this. I went to Efteling with the family of my ex-girlfriend.
Like the theme park.
Ago. Yes, right? Efteling. And I had my a cap, Malice cap, that there was only one on the planet because a fan and a friend of mine, his name is Mark, and he was used to come to parties a lot, but now I think he's basically 40 and I don't see him anymore. He made that cap for me, and it was the only one on the planet. And there was this guy at Efteling, and that day I was feeling kind of down because I had a fight with my ex, and it was not a good vibe. But that guy was there, and he recognized me, and he was so happy to see me. He wanted a picture, and then out of nowhere, I just took the cap off, and I said, "I give you this, only one on the world. Take it." He started crying,
Really?
Yeah, I started crying. And for me, it's too much, you're crying. But because I said, don't cry, bro, don't cry. Like, I know you're happy, but don't cry. But the fact that he cried for something like this, that made my day for the rest of the day, Like, I was like, fucking hell, there is a motherfucker that literally cried because I gave him something,
Yeah, and not because the hat was ugly or something. It was more the gesture.
Yeah, probably also because of that. Yeah. It was not a trucker cap like this. It was flat. I hated that shit. So I gave you that cap only because I hated it. Yeah. No. I wanted to make him happy, and I was so happy that he was that happy to cry, Like, stuff like this make it all worth it,
Yeah.
Not really. Yeah, of course, when you have success with one song, of course, it's very nice. But when I meet people at a party and they ask me a picture, they tell me the Honest track was amazing, stuff like this, that's where all the reward comes from me,
The gratitude.
Yeah. And I think a lot of artists forget this, and they should remember, They should be like, they should remember that it's a privilege. Yeah, this life is a privilege. I think this job and this life is a privilege, and we should be grateful for it.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure.
Yeah.
You just talked about the year of absence. We're definitely going to talk about that later on in the episode.
No.
First, I want to...
Yes, of course.
we have to ask it, of course.
Of course.
But first I wanted to spin it a little bit back because you are one of the founders of AR Gang.
Of course.
How? At what point did you decide it's time for Aggressive Records as a label?
Difficult question. Like to remember exactly the reasons why we wanted to do it. I guess it's all related to connected to the passion and. Like that you want to build more with the art you created, right? So even having a label, it would have been awesome from a, if I say ego perspective, maybe sound bad, like the whole branding, the whole idea of creating something with what we created beforehand, And also, I guess the same reason for everybody else do this, for freedom of releasing music. Like being able to do kind of what you want, but without having to, like, of course, when you release music on a label, there is one guy or maybe more guys that will approve or not the song. Like you send a song, do you like it? No, I don't release this, Yeah. And it's not like Phil McDonald, the owner of Gearbox. It's not like he did this a lot with us at Gearbox because he loved what we did, and every time we sent a song, 9 times out of 10 he would say, I love it, let's release it. But you still want that freedom, You still want to know that you can do it.
Yeah.
No matter what,
You want to be in control of your art.
Yeah. And also the branding. Sorry, guys, I think it's my phone.
It's sitting
Can
over
we put
here.
it off, or you don't give a fuck?
You're a popular guy.
Let's go. He's probably the guy who helps me. Like, did you arrive in time? Did you do it? Remember to shoot content here. Remember.
Stefano, he's here.
Stefano. I'm here, man. I'm here. Oh, that guy. I love that guy. If I had 100,000 euro for free, I would give to him. I really appreciate. During the year of absence, he was one of the very few guys to always be there, Always be there, always help out. Yeah. Shout out to Stefano.
Now he's going to approve this episode
Now he's
as
going
well.
to approve, yes. But getting back to the question, like when you build something, art, like especially music. So a natural outcome, like we went from let's make Aggressive Act to let's make a label to, to be able to release whenever we wanted and stuff like this.
So basically out of the success of your acts and also Aggressive acts.
Yes, it's like momentum, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's like momentum. You always try to do more and more. It's like if you're an entrepreneur, you have money to hire 2 people, then you want to hire 10, then,
Yeah.
And in the business of music, I guess that's it,
Yeah.
Maybe the next step would be, I don't know, create your own agency label, your own, stuff like this. Making parties like constantly.
Aggressive bookings.
Yeah, aggressive bookings. Aggressive bookings would be cool. Minchia, good idea. Sounds good. Fuck it else. Sounds good. Aggressive bookings. Not even agency, aggressive bookings.
Maybe a restaurant. Aggressive food.
Italian restaurant, aggressive pizza. We throw it at your face. When you come in.
Then you throw the pineapple at somebody's face and the pizza to eat.
Yes, exactly. When you order pineapple, there is the surprise with a pineapple in your face. With the spikes and everything. Or the cas, The cas. Can I have cas and not mozzarella? Yeah, sure, bro. We throw the pack of cas from Albertine in your face. Yeah.
Well, it's time for the next segment, and that is the PLAFONDDIENST. Yeah, and
The PLAFONDDIENST.
Yeah, the plafond. Oh, your pronunciation.
I know
was actually
exactly
pretty
what it is.
And for those who don't know, it's our regular chapter where you guys send in your festival frustrations. So if you have one, please send us a message on Instagram at PLAFONDDIENST the podcast and record that voice memo. And this one has done that as well. Guys, I'm really curious what you think of this. Here we go.
When you see the lineup reveal and some artists are playing 3, if not 4 times, where's the room for other DJs that might deserve a spot on the lineup as well?
Okay.
Interesting one. So the question is, where's the variety of artists when some artists are playing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, or perhaps on just one day, but then different time slots? What do you think of this? Of this voice memo?
I think it's the standard nowadays. Like a lot of festivals have struggles with selling tickets, and that's why I think people are playing like 3 or 4 times just to sell those tickets because they are popular.
Yeah, this is exactly the reason. I don't know if we can keep this later, but this is exactly the reason. You know, they book the same name because lately it looks like Hardstyle parties struggling to sell tickets. Yeah. Indeed, they canceled so many parties, right? Yeah. They canceled a lot of parties, even historical ones like Climax, you know, Indeed. Continent, stuff like this. It is because they struggle to sell tickets, and I think it's because maybe somebody will feel offended, like the fans. If it is the case, I'm sorry. Yeah. But it's what I think. Like to that question, I think is this because the promoters are struggling selling tickets, so they try to book the most popular acts more times during the festival because they think that people will go. You know.
Sometimes it is good that artists are playing multiple sets during the weekend because they're already there, and also. I really thought it was clever for Supercharged. Well, not a pretty good example because that was cancelled as well. But the main Gearbox artists who played the classics for the first time were programmed on another stage as well. So they played multiple sets during one day. I believe you were supposed to play like a classic set on there as well.
Yes.
And the same goes for guys like Rebellion, but you can't just book Rebellion because they're so high profile right now that you also need to shift the money a little bit towards another budget, which could have been the classic stage. So in this case, it would be a solution. But I guess that this Plafondies is going about, okay, if a certain artist is playing on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, 4 sets throughout the weekend, where's the variety for someone else, like a talent, or maybe someone that doesn't get booked too much, to fill one of those 4 spots, because 4 spots is quite a lot.
I'm afraid if you get that variety of a lineup, that it might end up selling less tickets than with the lineups that are being programmed now. So
could be one of the reasons for sure. Yeah.
Well, it was a pretty good voice clip. So if you have one as well, then please send us to Instagram.
Let's go. I can do this all day. I love doing this shit. I can do this all day.
Well, Malice, let's move forward a little bit because recently you spoke out about going through a difficult period in your life. And before we go into any specifics, can you explain what you were going through?
Well, I released a video. I don't know if you guys saw that video. Yeah. Like, I really wanted to do something like this to also the fans deserved it because I've been silent for a long time, you know. What I was going to, maybe I can be kind of detailed, not too much, but kind of detailed, and then we decide what to keep.
Yeah.
But just, I did the diagnosis for AuDHD, so I understood some things of my life. I did it at 32 last year, you know. And before that, I was in a relationship for 5 years. I had my life kind of settled, right? I had 5 amazing cats. I had my relationship. The relationship ended in a very bad way, like very bad, unfortunately. Like the worst breakup of my life. And a different country, you know. I isolated myself for a lot of reasons, like because AuDHD, you have something called time blindness or even like body doubling, a lot of concepts. And basically, when something is not in front of you, it doesn't exist. It's how your brain functions, you know? So, for example, I stopped contact a lot of people. Like, I isolated myself after all that period, except a few peoples, but in Italy, you know? Here in this country, to be honest, I isolated myself a lot. That didn't help because I live also in Alphenkamp. You know, we talked in the farm. I love that place, but it's quite isolated. So all together, right? Then the music, you know, like I saw that it was getting more well perceived and popular, certain type of sounds that didn't really struck with me at first. I didn't know what to make, you know. I was making music every day, and then living alone, being always in my head. I think I can say this stuff because in that video I start with, how do you believe in yourself, because I'm not doing it right. So I can speak freely, you know, like, this, you know, every day I will make music and I will be, I like to do this, but will it work? Because, this is kind of Malice of 2019. And now the music is changing. I have to try to come up with something that I can mix both what works now and what worked for me in the past. And I could not come up with it, something like this. And then it's like a cycle, you know, like because I was always alone. I didn't have even the pets anymore because, reasons that too detailed to explain. Just that, you know, like a spiral. You don't need a lot to fuck up your life. Like you only need 6 months of doing all the bad choices, I think, you know. And that's kind of, I wouldn't say I fucked up my life because I'm grateful for so many things, you know. I always wake up with a smile thinking I'm in another country doing what I love still. I can live with it. I don't have to do a 9 to 5, which nothing wrong with that, but I'm grateful that I don't have to, right? And also this is something that all DJs should be grateful of, I think. Like that you don't have to do a 9 to 5, you know?
Yeah.
Like it's insane. People work hard years even just to be able to not even be rich, but just do this, you know? Live with your dream. And that's something you should be grateful about it. But I digress. Yeah, man, just it's a spiral, you know. I didn't speak with a lot of people. A lot of people didn't reach out, but I don't blame them because life move on, especially now, you know, with all the shit you have to think about. This job is being so busy now. You have to be an influencer. You have to be a producer. You have to be an entrepreneur. You have to be a marketer. You have to be so many things. Not like 15 years ago. You just make a song once every 6 months. The song is amazing. You're done. No. Yeah. Now you have to do so much shit, you know. It's not easy. No. So nobody had the time to think about me. So I don't blame nobody. But that's what happened, man. And the last track I released, the last year, was in 7th of March. And then after that, I made a lot of music, but I didn't release it for a lot of reasons. Mostly is the self-esteem, you know? Self-esteem. Because when you live alone, you think alone, you wake up. I didn't know I had ADHD, but I was very curious because I talked with my therapist. My therapist, she made me think about it. She was like, I think you are neurodivergent. There is too much stuff you do, and I think you are neurodivergent. You should do the diagnosis for ADHD. I did the whole process in Italy. I went to Italy a couple of times, and I found out I have autism, ADHD, AuDHD. Oh, yeah. So now I know how to live my life, kinda. All the small things, for example, some people will say, this is bullshit, everybody should do this, but I really have to do this. No phone, no digital for the first 5 hours of your day. Because how that brain works is that basically, I put it simple, who have ADHD have way less dopamine in the brain than a normal person. So all the activities that suck dopamine, for you is 400 times more lethal, you know, or what's the word? Effective.
Yeah.
Stuff like social media in the morning, stuff like pornography, stuff like video games, stuff like, you know, stuff like this that suck the dopamine. If you start the day with it, it's very difficult after to do productive stuff. Not because you're lazy or you lack self-discipline. It's really hard because it's literally your brain controls you. Yeah. So you have to fight against that. For example, no phone, no stuff other than work, you know, in the morning, or physical activity. Physical activity is a must, you know. I take a nice walk every morning, almost 1 hour. I live next to a forest where I did the video. So all these little adjustments that you have to do, you know. I digress so much. I don't even remember the fucking question. How was it? Yeah, just this, man. this being alone in a big house, you didn't have your pets anymore. Like your routine was changed completely.
Yeah.
And when you are alone with that, it's difficult like to push yourself every day, you know, when you are alone. And I also put myself in an alone situation. I don't blame nobody for not knowing where I was going to, because I didn't speak really to nobody unless people in Italy and unless Stefano Valsecchi.
Yeah.
Stefano Valsecchi, I remember I want to go into the pussy side for a moment.
No worries.
Like
It's your episode, man.
Yeah. And I remember before doing the video, I was kind of insecure, you know, releasing it, not doing it. And Stefano was like, yeah, man, you have to do it. I'm also working for free here, you know, so you have to do it. And I'm like, yeah, man, I'm sorry, you're working kind of for free. Every time I can give you something, I give you, you know, like I always show my gratitude. We don't have like a stable contact, but every time I can give you something, I give you. And he's like, yeah, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just the fact that I still do it, you know, so you have to do it also for me. And I'm like, yes, but why do you do it? And he told me, like, I believe in you. Just something so simple, so stupid, you know? But no one said this to me in months because I isolated myself. It's a lot of things, you know? And when he said that to me, I was like, this guy is awesome, you know? This guy was there. This guy, he deserved my respect and my friendship, you know?
Because did you, at your lowest point, also thought about quitting, or what was your thought process?
Quitting for real, never. Because first of all, I love making the music. But of course, the thought in the mind was like, will I be able to, you know, to find all the sparks again, you know? Never really about quitting though, because that scared the shit out of me, man. Like after 10 years, start my life with something new, you know? Like in the Netherlands, I don't know, because I don't know the language. So I have to start from zero, you know, here with the disadvantage of not knowing the language. And I'm 33. I knew that at some point that period of silence needed to be gone. I knew it. Like I was preparing myself. Like I stopped completely posting on social media after my vacation in Italy in August with my girlfriend. Because I thought, okay, now I'm building this idea of the video and the track. I will keep silent, and then I will come back with this powerful message. And it took some more time than I expected, but still, you know, that was my plan. It was never to quit. Quit completely, no, man.
Now, the reason why I asked that, because this shows how motivated you are deep down inside.
Yeah.
Like, you will never take...
Thank you well, Matt. Thank you well.
you will never take quitting for an option.
No.
But I can imagine that in a difficult time where you were, you don't think of that because it's not on the surface, but deep down, that motivation is there.
Yes.
And I believe that a video that you released, and that's also the reason why we asked you here, because that video really showed how personal it was for you in the time and how difficult it can be. And I believe that not only for artists, but also for fans or whoever can go to a difficult period in their lives. It's simple as that. That's
yes,
a circle
man.
of life.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people related. And that's what was also my goal, to show my human side, you know? Like I said before, like that I'm just... When people come to me and tell me, you're amazing, the music is insane, you're so cool. And I'm like, am I? Like, are you sure? Because I'm a motherfucker that didn't do nothing for months, you know? You know? And I know why you say that. And I still feel that. I still feel that I have accomplished something big. And I'm proud of it. But still, you know, like, don't think too high of me. Because the only difference between you and me, maybe, I don't know what you have in your brain, but maybe is you never tried to make music. Maybe you can do it too, you know? So, you know, don't think too much. But I really appreciate, of course, when they do it, the tattoos and everything. I could never be more grateful for this kind of stuff. And yes, I did that video to send a powerful message, you know? And I thought that after that pause, I needed to come back with something like this. Yeah. Like, not just, hey guys, this is my track, enjoy. No, something like a story, you know?
And I think that message was well received by a lot of people.
Yeah. More than I expected. I was also a lot of colleagues was very nice, you know? Very nice. I'm really grateful for all the beautiful messages,
Nice.
all the beautiful response.
Yeah, because it all led to the release of Screen With Me, and we're going to talk about that a little later.
Of course.
You just talked about the differences between you and me. Well, we do have a similarity, and that is that we don't have a top 5 segment in our podcast because that is for Flux Overload.
Yeah, let's go to a little higher, of a little less.
Let's go. Whatever you guys want.
True talk and stuff. We'll make something basically
Less
on the top
deep,
5.
less
Less deep indeed. That's what I
Less
saw.
deep shit.
That's what I saw.
Let's go.
Yeah, because in our episodes we always have the top 5 of Marijn,
Yeah.
and Flux Overload is bringing like the most variety on the list you can ever imagine.
What if festivals had like extra unreal upgrades? Like not just only the crazy billionaire stuff, but like realistic upgrades to maximize your festival experience.
Oh, you mean like extra VIP, but then in a different segment?
Exactly, indeed, yeah.
Oh shit!
But I have 5 things prepared. First of all,
So your top 5 ideas to make the festival experience insanely amazing.
yes,
Oh.
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah?
I didn't expect it.
Okay,
Let's
so
go.
on number 5 we have a personal butler on a festival, and yeah.
For the DJ or for every person in the
for
crowd?
just one person.
You already have a personal butler on stage, and that is a stage manager.
No, this is like for people in the crowd. And a few weeks back, we already did this item when I was a ober called Flux Overload.
Yeah,
You
okay.
mean like a waiter?
Yeah, like a waiter.
Yeah.
But it's a dedicated festival butler for you and your festival crew that gets the drinks, gets the coins and stuff.
So like AR gang crew, we have the personal butler.
Exactly.
You want him dressed like a butler, like
like in the smoking and stuff.
like the smoking,
he actually
the
went-
tissue, here like this.
Yeah.
Sir, would you like some water?
A cappuccino.
Yeah, a cappuccino. Yeah,
Would you like an edible, sir? Enjoy the party, Would you like some shrooms, sir?
Well, basically that indeed.
Let's go. Why not?
Okay. On number 4, your own camera guy that register your whole festival experience.
Oh shit!
Not bad.
Like-
That's fucking useful.
Yeah, because you experience like so many stuff that didn't get recorded or something. For example, you're walking through to a stage and something happens with some random guy.
You mean
and-
like your personal festival after movie?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that would be amazing.
No, that would be a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, on number 3, a private backstage space at every stage with free drinks.
You mean it like in the movie theater that you don't only have the regular seats, but like the VIP cushions where you can put your feet up?
Like the lover also, like together in one.
You just lay back and then watch AR Gang on the stage. That would be insane, right?
Okay.
Well, on number 2, feeling like a VIP with a reserved spot front row during your favorite DJ act. That is like so. Yeah, man. That you have
People
like,
will punch you to have that space.
yeah.
Unless you are inside a cage.
But those pros, like you have no pushing, no guys that camp 2 hours before the DJ even has to play already. No tall guy blocking your view, no cameras in front of you. So you have like your own space, especially reserved
like
for you.
divided with bouncers also.
Yeah,
because
with bouncers
imagine
indeed.
in the
Yeah.
middle of the crowd.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody for envy will spit inside. Like, you have the VIP spot. Fuck you.
So the best spot in the house just for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Indeed. Yeah.
Okay, but what is on top of the list then?
The last one is the Save My Spot service. Like you leave the crowd for drinks or for the toilet or something, and then there's a staff member that holds your exact spot for like 10 or 20 minutes.
That would be fucking cool.
That will, when you get back from your drinks or from the toilet, that your spot is still reserved, and you can go back to it and without any hassle or something,
That would not clash, but of course, if somebody instead have paid for the number 2, you don't need that because it's your owners of the spot.
Yeah, but this is like for only 10 or 20 minutes.
For the peasants.
Yeah.
For the, a bit higher than peasants because the peasants they go to take a drink and 7 people are in the spot, so that's the peasant experience.
Yeah. So it's basically it comes down like a little bit to a reserved spot, but then it's only for 10 or 20 minutes, like for the peasants.
Yeah, for the peasants.
Yeah, before we continue, as you know, making a podcast just takes a lot of time. That's why we need your
And a lot of
support.
catching. A lot of clank.
Yeah, we don't have it. So if you could support us by subscribing on YouTube or give us a 5-star rating on Spotify. We're almost at 900 ratings and a 5.0 on Spotify.
Nice.
So that is insane. Thank you for that. If you haven't done it, please do.
Feliciteerd. Feliciteerd.
Auguri.
No, congratulazioni.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, congratulazioni.
Sorry.
Auguri for the birthday.
Oh,
And it's the
okay.
same word. Yeah,
No,
che
grazie
feliciteerd,
mille.
yeah.
Grazie mille.
Prego, ragazzi, prego.
Also, if you like this episode with Malice, then please leave a comment and let us know what you think of the podcast. Yeah, Malice, recently you shared a clear message, and that is Malice is back. And ever since, we already discussed it a little bit, but how were the responses on the release of the video and the release of your first track in Asia?
The response on the video was amazing. I couldn't be more grateful and happy, you know. And the rest tracks also were perceived well. Maybe some people didn't like my approach to try to reach to the new sound because I used like a microwave kick. But I want to say to all the people that didn't like that, I mean, I like heavy stuff, aggressive stuff, you know. I'm still aggressive act, aggressive record, you know. I'm still like, you know, even though a lot of guys in the label have moved to more the party EDM vibe direction, I still want to do aggressive because for me, like I said before, is venting. I don't want to sound too deep. Is venting the bad inside, like making raw, making aggressive, you know, like what does it kill us only makes us stronger, you know. I do it for me. It's like a therapy for me. Yeah, it's literally this. It's like a therapy for me. I need this, you know. I need this. So if the people feel it, perfect. But I need it. So microwave kick with somebody scream. When I did that idea, that I thought, maybe I can do microwave kick, and then I asked the guy who worked with me to do a long as he can scream and put it on top. To me, I was doing that, and I was literally feeling like, you know, like let's go, you know, you know, like all the bullshit I felt in that period I told you went just away, you know. It was therapeutic, like scream, what, you know, and then I'm like,
Yeah.
That's why I do music, you know.
Yeah, to
That's
release
why,
that inner.
Yeah, that's why I like to write a certain melody, for example, certain chord progression, you know, because I want to release something. Even the notes of the kick roll, you know, like I want to release that part, you know. So that's why I do it, and the response was amazing. The track response also was amazing. Just people criticize that I gave my opinion now. Like, what else would you have done? You know, like, as long as I like it. I think when you follow a trend, it's fine to follow a trend or to try to approach a trend, as long as you really like the idea that comes out of it. Because sometimes, as an artist, when you're lost creative and you try to copy a trend, you just copy it and you don't really dig it. And that shows when you perform, you don't really believe in it, you know? But I believed in that drop. I fucking like it. I will do it again, you know? And I'm making it again in the new tracks I'm making. Certain kind of style again, because I like the aggressive, and microwave is aggressive. It's a straight bass line, you know?
Yeah.
If you distort it, distortion is aggressivity.
Yeah, because there are quite a few developments within raw, or let's say in music at all. What do you think of what do you think of this evolution in raw hardstyle?
Like I said before, that's why also I struggled making music last year, because most of the time I didn't dig it. But then that idea clicked, you know? And I'm like, yeah, I can do this because I like this. This is still aggressive. This still like does the job that I need, the therapeutic job. You know, like, this kick is hard as fuck. The same concept as when somebody go to the gym, or maybe somebody do boxing and they don't even fight with another person, but they just punch the punching bag, you know? They release some stress, they release some... The same. When I make music, it's the same. But also now, it's also on me to prove myself. I cannot expect that now everything I do is gold. Maybe, you know, because I will fucking do it no matter what, because it's like also a promise to myself, like I did in the video, you know, like I need to document this, and I did this to remind myself when I feel stuck. Because you will feel stuck, especially when you live alone and your job is lonely, like making music. Because yes, you have colleagues to speak with, but if you make music alone, you make music alone. In the studio, you're alone.
It's an ongoing process,
job.
of course.
Yeah, it's an only job. I mean, that's how I see it. Maybe it's not the same experience for a lot of people, but when you are only you making music, it is lonely. You are just you, and you are like, okay, what can I do? Let's take inspiration. Let's listen some music around. Let's see if I vibe with a melody. It's always on your own. I have to prove myself also. Like I cannot expect now amazing responses, Maybe it happens that one track just clicks, is a hit, and boom, that would be amazing. But it's up to me also now as a man, as an artist and everything, to take responsibility and be consistent and keep pushing. And also to respect of the fans that had such an amazing response on that video. Because if I do that video, nobody gives a fuck, I'm like, okay, nobody give a fuck.
Yeah,
Maybe it's time to call it quits. But that was not the case.
No, you started building momentum right away with the whole video.
Yeah, but I didn't... sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
It was, yes, maybe my idea was also to start to build momentum with a storytelling, but also that was like the minimum. The most was to open up.
Yeah, of course. No,
to open up,
Yeah, but the result of that resulted into a momentum building.
Of course.
And then you can
it's like, hey, I'm here,
Yeah, you're back.
Yes.
Like you're back. And that's a good thing, and everyone is then curious from what you're coming up with.
But now, especially nowadays, that's not enough, That's just to say, hey, I'm here. But now, as I said before, it's up to me as a man, as an artist, to keep my word and be consistent.
Exactly.
Least, Never again do something like did the last year, And in this, sometimes I thought to Ryan also, delete, because he kind of had the same, with before Shut the Mind Up, if you remember.
Yeah.
For a whole year, he was silent because I want to sound cocky and talk like if I knew him, even though I didn't know him so much on a personal level, even though we had some conversations. Because we were supposed to play together at Intense, And I did a tribute set. I did 1 hour, like one track me, one track delete. One track me, one track delete. And I also made the track Dancing in the Sky for him, And
Nice.
I never took money for it. Like, I released it free. I wanted to give money to the family. They didn't accept. It's fine. It's their choices. And I never collected money. Like, the track is still there. And I did that track to honor Delete because he was my god.
Yeah.
He was like, without him, I wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't do this job. And but see how much I fucking digress, ADHD, man. But help me, guys. What we were talking about?
Well, the thing is that we're approaching the end of this episode, and what is? Of course, you can always come back.
I would love to, bro. I would love to. Please. I love to do this stuff. Please.
But
you do it at my place, and I cook for everybody.
Hey,
nice.
I heard you cook a mean carbonara.
My best is the ragu bolognese.
Oh shit!
Bolognese,
Oh shit!
4 hours cooking, like my grandma taught me, and stuff.
Aggressive podcast.
Aggressive podcast.
Aggressive
the Italian
podcast.
special.
Cooking, yeah,
of course. Cool.
No, I'm even real. You guys take all the fucking stuff to do the podcast. I will cook for everybody. I would love to do that.
That would be dope. And what is the thing that you're personally the most excited again that you maybe weren't like a year ago?
Feel good, and proud of what you do is working for a project that I built, and I like the purpose of my life is like not to let it die.
Yeah.
Now, the
Moving
purpose of my
forward.
life is not to let it die, and I'm excited to maintain my own promise to myself, and then look at myself in 1 year and be like, Davide, you fucking did it,
Yeah.
Your own promise, you fulfilled it, You kept making music. You kept connect with the people that deserve that you connect with them because they were there after 1 year of silence, basically. And I'm so excited to take back my life in a way, because Malice is my life, I thought, even though I didn't do shit for 1 year, I thought about it every day, from start to finish. Like when I wake up, Malice. When I go to sleep, Malice. What can I do to make Malice better? What can I do to get back from the mud? What can I do? And every day was like this. Every day, you know? And of course, people don't see that, but that's how I lived, you know? And that's how I still live. Everything I do is related to Malice. And this, of course, a lot of people can relate, I'm sure. Like, when you have a business in general, your life is the business.
Yeah. But now it's time
Maybe
to move forward.
you guys have this and you think a lot about this, you know? How to make it better. Oh, guys, maybe we can buy this new thing. Or maybe we can do that, you know?
Maybe
You
we
think
can
about
invite
it,
Malice.
Maybe we can invite Malice again. You know? Maybe Malice can cook in the office. And,
That would be really cool.
ah, man, I would fucking love it. Yeah.
No, but
No,
glad
I'm
to hear.
excited. I'm excited to be back, you know, and to
A lot of motivation, I guess.
man. Yeah. I'm excited to prove to myself that I'm here, you know, and to show the gratitude to the people, you know, to the people that posted a nice comment under that video, because that video meant a lot to me. And I think nobody ever did something like this, like making kind of a short. A lot of people recorded themselves saying stuff like, guys, this is not a good period now, but I'm working on stuff, stay tuned, but not really like
Transparent.
something so I want to sound cocky, creative, you know, like a short, because that was kind of a short video. I didn't take the camera and talk. I wrote a script, you know, I hired a guy, you know, and stuff. So,
Yeah, it was really well put.
Yeah.
yeah, I wanted it, you know, something strong to come back, not just me on the video camera, you know. And also, I cannot do it again, because if I would do again 1 year of nothing, then I have to disappear. Like I wouldn't have the balls to show myself again 1 year later with another video. People will not take me seriously, and they were right. You know, they will be right. So the reception, I am appreciative of the good reception, but now it's also up to me, you know. And I know this, and I want it.
It's time to move forward, and it seems like you're
to put in the work.
Exactly.
Yeah. Of course.
And what does that mean music-wise? What can we expect of Malice music in 2026?
The same stuff, like the energy, and this will never change. Like the reason why I make music will never change. Like you will never see me make a song that's pure festival and just happy vibe. Like oh my god, we love to party. Let's take drugs. I will do. No, I don't have nothing against that, but it's not why I make music.
Yeah.
It's not why I make music. You know, it's not. It was never was. Even when I was with Aleando, I was more always the guy that would make Can't Let You Go and stuff like this, a Euphoric Experiment, tracks like that. And Aleando would be the guy that would make Brutalized, you know? And I love Brutalized, but that was not my idea. It was Aleando's idea. My ideas were more like tracks like Stronger, like Can't Let You Go, with some emotion, you know? There is emotion in the music party, but it's not the emotion I want when I make music.
Yeah.
So that always the same. But I'm reinventing myself a lot in the studio. I'm working very hard. I have already tracks that I have to play and release. This track that we released this week, My Redemption, is still old vibes because I wanted it to be like this, you know, and with the kind of new kicks because I still like that shit, but still, you know, kick rolls that are more dynamic compared to the old stuff, of course. Music-wise, I want to keep doing the music that I love to do, that when I finish a track or when I'm making a track, I need to have that feeling like, you know, like venting some bad inside, always, and that will never change. And I really hope that people will relate to this. Like, for example, under Stronger, there is still a comment of a guy saying, you saved my life basically with this track because I wanted to end myself. I had the worst year of my life, and this track made me not do it. And if you say it under a track that I said, festivals are so cool, let's get drugs. I still appreciate it, but because it's on Stronger, I really believe you. I really relate with you, and that's what I really want to achieve. It's not just music noise for me. It's really like, for me, it means a lot. I vent.
Music with a message.
Yes, yeah. Music. Of course, the message doesn't have to be too deep because this is not radio, but always be there, you know? Like, for example, bullshit about, like, we do a drop, but it's always like, keep your fucking head up, you know? Whatever. Yeah. And then the message is keep your head up, you know? Stupid, simple, it's just a mantra, but still, I always want to put that stuff.
Yeah.
But always hard. Like, I don't want to do soft kicks. I always want to go hard. And I'm making a lot of stuff that will sound fresh, you know? Still Malice, but fresh. I'm making a lot of stuff that I believe in it. I can't wait to play it. I can't wait to release it. And that's what I want to do, you know? And,
Did you already finish a lot of tracks?
I finished 2 together with the one I'm releasing, so I have 3. So
Nice.
now the scheduling for releasing is maybe minimum 6 weeks.
Nice.
Which is insane if you think about it, but it's the job now. Like you need to keep people, you need to be there, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm covered for quite some months. Now I'm finishing other 2, so I will have 5 tracks in total. So I'm covered, and then I have to work still on more music.
Nice.
But for the next 5 months, I'm covered, like release-wise. Maybe I will change them, seeing on the reaction, because, for example, in 2 weeks I have to play in Italy, and I will test the 2 new tracks. Not too much, because I'm sure that in Italy people want also to hear my good tracks of my legacy.
Yeah.
But the 2 tracks new I will play. I will see how they react. But I'm working hard, you know, on this music that I'm trying to make, which sounds like Malice but fresh, you know.
Yeah. Nice.
Cool stuff, man. Cool stuff. Really glad to hear that you find that spark in the studio again.
And then it goes, you know. Maybe projects like album and stuff is too soon to talk about it, because when I did that video, I'm not completely healed, you know, mentally. Yeah. Like it's still there. So for me, it's already like a win every morning that I go in the studio. Like I go in the studio and I'm like, cool, because I didn't go for a long time last year, you know. I would like go in the studio, lose myself, and then I would take a walk in the forest. It was like a cycle, you know, every day on your own like this. So it would take some time. So I don't want to come here and say like, yes, I will announce an album. No, because I need to, you know, find also the consistency, which there is. But for big projects, I want to give it time. When I feel the time, I will do it, because I want to do it eventually in my life, of course. One solo album, it will mean everything to me, you know, to have that statement. But now I'm working on more singles. Every 6 weeks release a song, because I need to show up again and be there consistently.
Nice.
And the pinnacle of this, realistically, I want to see it next year. Like next year, with my own devotion, my own discipline, working very hard, then I will see. I'm here humble as fuck, you know. I have the mindset of like if I started yesterday. I didn't, but I have the mindset of somebody who started yesterday.
Yeah, you need to keep in.
Yes.
You get in the grind.
Yeah. Grind and hustle, you know, but grind. Yeah, definitely.
Well, cool stuff. Well, I'm not expecting you to drop like a scoop and say that you're coming with an album. No, but I think it's. I'm really glad that you were guest on this podcast to give more explanation about your ongoing process and how things were you for the past year.
I'm really grateful you guys invited me over. Awesome experience. I really love to do this type of stuff. I love it.
Of course. Well, next time we'll do it at your place with some mean Italian food.
That would be fucking amazing.
No, thank you once again, Davide. Thank you for coming, and thank you guys for listening and watching. Next week we'll be back with another new Plafonddienst. So see you then next Tuesday. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Ciao belli. Hey gang.
This podcast is powered by Malice. Use discount code HARDNEWS10 for a 10% discount on your festival outfit.